Topping today's news, the economic minister with a warning for politicians. The opposition leader makes his case for a general election instead of a by-election in Golden Isles. The minister for culture inviting Junkanoos to rush with another group if your group does not want to come to Bay Street. And after Tropical Storm Imelda, the capital nicknamed Pothole City. This is your JCN Evening News. I'm Junkanoo Saunders. Thank you so much for joining us. On Thursday, while announcing that the government has successfully met its projected budget deficit, the Minister of Economic Affairs, Michael Halkitis, warned politicians, namely the official opposition, about rushing to gain political points with commentary that could be detrimental to the country as it relates to the nation's financial standing. In May, F&M Shadow Minister of Finance, Kwesi Thompson, was critical of the Bahamas' National Statistical Institute estimates of the GDP growth for 2024, which reported a 3.4% increase in economic activity from $13.6 billion in 2023 to $14.1 billion in 2024. Mr. Halkitis had this message.
Unfortunately, it takes external people to come and do the analysis and say, this is the true picture. And just one last shot to the politicians out there, because I imagine, this might ramp up, is that, when you take these shots and get a little hysterical when you see these things and put out these hysterical statements, it's not only consumed here in the Bahamas, it's consumed internationally. And so then we have to go out and sit with financial institutions and explain to them what the true picture is, doing damage control, so to speak. So that's just, as Minister said, I'll leave with this short. We're in a democracy, so anybody's free to say what they want, but particularly when it comes to the financial well-being of the country, of course ask, of course demand accountability, but particularly aimed at the politicians out there who seeking the score points. Let's be a little more measured in our statements. Okay?
Halkitis explained that a number of factors played into the government's ability to meet its budget targets, including growth in the economy, containment of expenditure, and strong revenue performances, including improved tax collection on high-end real estate. He said the government is very encouraged by the results, which represent the full fiscal year for 2024-2025. With a by-election looming after the death of Cabinet Minister Vaughn Miller, leader of the official opposition Michael Pintard said Thursday that his party is discussing a general election instead of a by-election because of the financial challenges Bahamians are facing at this time.
Given the financial challenges that the Bahamian people are facing, it would be interesting to see whether or not this government is prepared to again, as they did in West Grand Bahama, spent over we believe $10 million on one seat, while there are many roofs that are still leaking in West Grand Bahama. Many houses are compromised in different ways. The administration center is not fully open. The school is not fully open. Bahamians have real-life bread and butter issues that the government needs to dedicate resources to. A general election will give one party or another a new mandate.
The F&M and the Coalition of Independents have named most of their candidates already for the 2026 elections. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Philip Davis says he will be guided by the law as it relates to when the by-election will be held or if he will go straight to a general election. The Minister of Youth, Sports and Culture, Mario Boleg, expressed confidence in the ability of the National Junkanoo Committee, the NJC, a statutory body appointed by the Cabinet to manage the upcoming Boxing Day and New Year's Day Junkanoo parades for New Providence. He made a clear statement that the parades are national events sponsored largely by the government of the Bahamas and not a private entity like the JCNP. He explains what the government invests.
The government also pays, out of that $2 million, some $650,000 to $700,000 for the bleachers. These bleachers are provided for ticketing for the parades, which the government in return would give those revenue to the JCNP or allow them to collect once we are in a contractual agreement for paying the prize money.
Mr. Boleg insisted that there will only be one group managing the New Providence parades, despite what the JCNP said on Wednesday about managing groups under their membership. He encouraged Junkanooers, this is Minister Boleg, encouraging Junkanooers whose group does not want to come to Bay Street, encouraging them to find another group to come to Bay Street and rush.
If you love rushing, and you love Junkanoo, and your group decide that they don't want to go on Bay Street, there are many other groups you can get on Bay Street and enjoy what you love doing. This is a free country, and everybody's free to do as they wish and do what they like once it's in the line of the law, and they remain in the guidance and under the law of the Bahamas.
Minister Boleg says the government remains committed to ensuring that Junkanoo, as the nation's premier cultural expression, is managed fairly and transparently. He stressed that the upcoming Boxing Day and New Year's Day parades will go on as planned under the NJC. The JCNP yet to respond to the minister's latest comments. Even before Tropical Storm Imelda dumped massive amounts of water on our streets, there were challenges for motorists navigating the streets filled with potholes. Since the storm, the situation has gotten worse, with a number of humongous potholes around the city. If you know where they are, you can perhaps avoid them, but if you don't, either due to poor lighting or they are covered by standing water, it is a real hazard and can cause massive damage to your vehicle. The Public Service Ministry recently issued a number of contracts for private entities to help keep potholes patched. It's obvious they will have a mammoth task on their hands whenever they begin work, presumably when the roads are dry enough for them to begin. We'll take a break here. We'll be right back following these commercials.